Hi, it's Debbie Nicholson speaking, and we have got Mr. Meddle and his handkerchief today. When Meddle went to stay with his Aunt Jemima, he always had to be on his best behaviour, and one of the things he had to be careful about was coughing. Always cough into your hanky, Meddle, his aunt would say. Decent people always do, nasty people don't. Oh, said Meddle, thinking that his aunt must often have thought him a nasty person. Well, I'll try, Aunt Jemima, but I haven't always a hanky with me. Well, you must put a hanky into your pocket every morning, said his aunt. But I haven't got a pocket, said Meddle. Well, you sewed them all up because you said I kept putting my hands into them. Well, pin a hanky to the front of you, said his aunt. Oh, no, certainly not, said Meddle. People'd laugh when they saw me. Well, put your hanky into the top of your stocking then, or down your neck. Anywhere you can get it if you feel you're going to cough, said his aunt. So Meddle fetched a hanky and put it down his neck, just under the top of his blue vest. Now he could easily get it if he coughed. He didn't cough all the morning. He didn't sneeze either. And that afternoon his Aunt Jemima said, Meddle, I am going out to a meeting this afternoon, and it is a good meeting of some very, very good people who are going to give money so that we may teach poor little children their manners. Now you just show what nice manners you have. Hand round the cakes at tea and put chairs for everyone, and answer nicely when you are spoken to. I don't feel I have nice enough manners for a meeting like that, said Meddle. But his aunt would not let him stay home. She took him with her, and he had to go. He was afraid of his Aunt Jemima because she always said Meddle was still young enough to be spanked. So he went. He tried to behave nicely. He put chairs for everyone. He looked at the cakes on the tea table and decided that he would hand a few to himself as well as to other people. He answered very nicely when he was spoken to. Now there's a very nicely behaved nephew of yours, everyone said to Aunt Jemima. You must be proud of him. If only we could have the little children in far-off countries brought up like Meddle, what a wonderful thing it would be. Well, everything went well until tea time. Then Meddle began to hand round the cakes as he had been told. Now I'm just going to show you the picture of Meddle with the people. You see that? This is Meddle with the people. They're all thinking he's such a nice person. Look at the chairs he's put out for people, and look at all those yummy things on the table. And they're all telling Aunt Jemima that he is just such a well-behaved person. So, he was just walking across the room when he felt a sneeze or a cough coming. He didn't know which. It might quite well be both. Oh, my hanky, thought Meddle in dismay. Did I bring one? Yes, thank goodness I did. I put it down the top of my vest, didn't I? Oh, I shall burst if I don't sneeze or cough soon. He had to put down the cups of tea quickly. He pushed one into Mrs. Plumpy's lap, and it spilt all over her new purple dress. He shot the other at Miss Skinny, and it scalded her hand. They both squealed loudly. Everyone looked at Meddle, which was a great pity, because Meddle was doing surprising things. He was trying to find his hanky, and it wasn't where he had put it. He was feeling about in his vest, but there was no hanky there. Oh, Meddle, what are you doing? Said his Aunt Jemima in horror. Have you got a mouse down your front or what? Meddle couldn't answer because he was trying to keep his cough inside him till he found his hanky. He looked at his aunt and his face went red, and then it went purple. Everyone felt alarmed. Oh, he's going mad, whispered Mrs. Plumpy to Miss Skinny. Or perhaps I put my hanky into my stocking, thought Meddle in despair. So he pulled up his trouser ends and felt about in his socks. He took off his shoes and then his socks, trying to see if the hanky had slipped into the foot. But it wasn't there. Meddle, are you mad? Cried his aunt. How can you behave like this? Well, Meddle nearly burst himself with trying not to cough or sneeze. I did put my hanky in my vest, he thought. I know I did. It must have slipped down. I'll take off my coat and waistcoat and see if I can find it. Well, so to everyone's horror, Meddle took off his coat and flung it on the floor. Then he took off his waistcoat, and that went on the floor too. Oh, poor creature, he is quite mad, said everyone, and they looked with pity at Meddle's aunt. who was now very red in the face and felt most ashamed of Meddle. "This is not the time to undress, Meddle," she said very sharply. Well, Meddle was angry. He opened his mouth to say that he was not undressing. He was only trying to find his hanky. And of course, as soon as he opened his mouth, the cough and the sneeze came out together. Everyone jumped. Meddle suddenly beamed with delight. "Here's my hanky," he said, and he waved it in the air. "It was at the bottom of my vest instead of at the top." "I'll go to the kitchen," said his aunt angrily. "You are not fit to be here with us. You need to be taught more manners than the little children. I am really ashamed of you, Meddle." Well, Meddle was surprised. He stared at his aunt. "But you told me only to sneeze or cough into my hanky," he said, "and I was only trying to find my hanky. You said I put it in. You see, I put it in the top of my vest, and it slipped right down to here." "And that will do, Meddle," said his aunt. "We don't want to listen to you. We don't want to see you any more today. Carry all these tea things to the kitchen and wash up the dishes. That is the least you can do to make up for your very bad behaviour." Oh, Meddle was angry and he was hurt, but he didn't like to say any more when so many people were glaring at him. And I'll just show you the picture of him finding his hanky. Look at that. Look at that, he was so excited. But instead, what did he do? He sneezed over everybody and coughed over everybody before he could find his hanky. So who was unhappy? His aunt now, because they all think that he's doing silly things, and all the time he's trying to find his hanky. Oh dear. Meddle finished the washing up and sat and looked at the cakes that were left. He felt hungry. There were plenty of sandwiches left too. "Well, I do think I might have a reward for trying to sneeze and cough into my hanky and for washing up the tea things," he said at last. So he ate up all the sandwiches, 2 ginger cakes, 3 shortbreads, 4 pieces of sponge cake, and 6 chocolate biscuits. He went home with his aunt later on. "Well," said Meddle, "thanks for taking me, Aunt. I did enjoy the meeting." But his aunt never knew why, and he didn't tell her. Poor old Meddle, he does his best, but somehow he always does make a muddle, doesn't he? Oh, poor old Meddle, don't you just feel sorry for him sometimes? He's trying to do the right thing and it just never works out. Do you get like that? Do you have moments where you're trying to do the right thing and everybody around you thinks you're doing the wrong thing? It's very difficult trying to please all the adults at once, isn't it? But never mind, I'm going to come back to you with another story of Mr. Meddle at another time. So I'll talk to you again later. Bye-bye.